Hello students. So we completed with what is pressure and how is force and area affecting the pressure on anything. So today we are about to study pressure in fluids. Now, before beginning, I want to tell you that fluids does not mean only liquids. Fluids means anything which can flow. So liquids as well as gases come under fluids. So pressure in fluids means we are talking about pressure in liquids as well as gases. Okay, so we move further with what is pressure in fluids and how we calculate it. So we move further. In this picture, we have a bottle which is filled with a liquid, and another picture we have a container in which there are 3 holes and we can see that the liquid is coming out. So first we talk about lateral pressure. Lateral pressure means in one horizontal space. Laterally, that means we are talking about one space. So in one level, if we are talking about height h in a liquid, so we are talking about the fluid which is at height h throughout. So that is the pressure at height h. Lateral pressure. Lateral means pressure at height h, whatever is the height. So here we are talking about lateral pressure. Lateral pressure is the pressure exerted by the fluid on the sides of the containing vessel. So at any height, the pressure exerted by the liquid or the fluid which is filled in will be applied on the sides of the vessel wherever and to whatever height it is placed. Okay, so lateral pressure is a pressure exerted by the fluid on the sides of the containing vessel. Pressure is directly proportional to the height of the fluid and density of the liquid. Now, this statement is important to understand. Pressure is directly proportional to height. That means more the height, more the pressure. Less the height, less the pressure. And that is why pressure increases with depth when we move inside for diving. That is why the divers wear specially designed suits, because to withstand pressure inside. So pressure increases with depth. So pressure is directly proportional to height of the fluid and density of the fluid. So density and height both are directly proportional to pressure. If density of the fluid will increase, pressure will also increase. If density will decrease, pressure will also decrease. And if depth will increase, pressure will decrease. And if depth will increase, pressure will increase. Now you can see here the other one where we have a container and we have 3 holes. We are seeing the height. Now, from above, the height is very less from the first hole, and therefore the water is falling out there only. To the second hole, the height has little bit increased than the first one, and therefore the water which is coming, the fluid which is coming out is going to a farther place. It is going farther more than what it is falling from the first hole. And in the last hole, you can see that is at the greatest depth over there. It is at the greatest depth, the last hole. Height has increased and therefore pressure has also increased, and that pressure, due to that pressure, the fluid is going to the farthermost place and it is going and falling down at a greater distance. So a fluid contained in a vessel exerts pressure at all points and in all directions. This we will study later, but you have to understand here the pressure is directly proportional to height of the fluid and density of the fluid. Now, the point which is mentioned here, the fluid contained in a vessel exerts pressure at all points and in all directions. That means we are talking about a molecule. I had talked about this in our earlier slides also, in the last class also, that any molecule which is present inside the fluid, the pressure acts the same from all the directions on that molecule. So if we are talking about molecule A inside a fluid, on molecule A, from left, right, up, down, sideways, everywhere, from all the directions, the pressure applied on that molecule is same, and therefore it is mentioned over here that pressure in the fluid is same. A fluid contained in a vessel exerts pressure at all points and in all directions, and that very molecule will also apply the same pressure in all the directions. So we move further. So now in this picture we can see that it is written pressure exerted by a liquid column. So we are about to derive a formula for pressure inside a liquid. So what is the pressure experienced inside a liquid at height h of a fluid of density d and acceleration due to gravity at that point will be same. So it is taken as g. So we are about to find out the formula that how is the pressure calculated at height h inside a liquid. So what we have done is we have assumed here that there is a cylinder of the liquid only which is filled over there. So we have assumed a cylinder. This is our assumption. The cylinder is not present, but we have assumed that there is a cylinder made up of fluid only. So we are assuming this cylinder because we want to find out the pressure at depth h. Now, in this we can see this blue cylinder which we have assumed. So the weight of this cylinder is mentioned over there as W is equal to mg, which is acting downward. Height of the liquid column has been shown over there as h, and area of cross section has been shown over there by A. And volume is area into height, that everybody knows. Now, from our earlier classes, what we have studied, we concluded with the formula that pressure is equal to thrust upon area. Now, as we know that thrust is the force, and what is force? Force is the weight of that body. So here the weight of this body is mass into acceleration due to gravity because of the water column. So weight will be taken here as mass into gravity, that is the force. So according to the formula, pressure is equal to mass into gravity upon area. This will be the pressure at this point. Now, if you remember, you have studied in your lower classes, density is equal to mass upon volume. Density is equal to mass upon volume. So from here, we get mass is equal to volume into density. Obviously, when we have density is equal to mass upon volume, so mass, for calculating mass, we will multiply density to volume, and we will get, in place of mass, we have placed volume into density, and rest of the things are copied as it is. So volume into density into acceleration due to gravity upon A. Now, as we know that volume is area into height, so volume has been replaced by area into height into D into G is copied as it is upon A. Now A and A is cancelled and we get pressure is equal to H dg, where H is the height of the liquid column, D is the density of this liquid, and G is the acceleration due to gravity at this point. So from here we have concluded that pressure inside a liquid column at height h is equal to h dg. Now you have understood our earlier slide also that we said pressure is directly proportional to the height as well as the density of the liquid. As acceleration due to gravity is same at that point, so height and density is directly proportional to pressure. If pressure will increase, height and density both will increase. And if density will increase, pressure will increase. If height will increase, then also the pressure will increase. So both are in direct relation with pressure. So we move further. Now, this is not there in your syllabus, but I am mentioning because you can get few numericals related to manometer and height of the column in the manometer, and so you should know this. Now, what is a manometer? It is a instrument which is used to measure the atmospheric pressure at certain points. So, what we do is we have a wooden board over here, you can see, which is standing vertically, and we have a U tube which has been stuck to this so that the U tube cannot move from here. So it has been clamped in such a way that this glass U tube cannot move from here. So U tube manometer, this manometer includes a U tube which is kept in this position. So we move further to see how is it made. Now, this U tube is filled with any liquid. It can be oil, it can be water, it can be mercury, it can be any fluid, any liquid which can be seen and whose density is known to you. So you have to fill in any manometric liquid over here, but the density should be known to you and it should be visible in the U tube. Okay, so we move further to see what happens next. Okay, so in this picture, we can see that one scale also has been placed over there to measure the height in both the limbs of the U tube. So L1 and L2 are the two limbs over here. Now, what we have done is we have filled a manometric liquid over there. Now, as liquid seeks its own level and it is connected with the same U tube, so what will happen in the first case, in both the limbs it will be same height, as nothing has been changed over here. So in both the limbs the manometric fluid will be at the same height. So L1 and L2 will show the same height of the manometric liquid. Now, what has been done over here is that one rubber tube has been attached with a ball opening over there just to immerse it inside any fluid whose pressure is to be measured at any height. Okay, so what we have done, we have connected one limb of the manometric U tube to a rubber tube, and we are about to insert this rubber tube in a container containing a liquid of whose pressure we have to calculate at any depth. Okay, so this is the arrangement as it is shown here. Now you can see that a beaker filled with a fluid has been brought, and then the rubber tube has been immersed inside, and it is completely immersed and it has been taken to some height over there. The moment the rubber tube is inserted in the fluid, you can see that the readings in the two limbs of the U tube has changed. So L1 is reading more than L2. So these levels are measured and it is written over there. It is observed that what reading has been taken and it is written somewhere. Okay. Now, the difference in these two levels will give you the pressure in that fluid at height h. So, whatever is the difference in the height of these two limbs will show you the pressure in that fluid. So, this is how the manometer works. So these questions, these numerical questions can be framed on this, how is the working. So it is necessary for you people to understand that how is a manometer working. So we move further. Now we are talking about total pressure in a liquid at depth h. And what will be the total pressure? It will be the atmospheric pressure plus pressure due to liquid column. What is atmospheric pressure? We will study in our later part of the chapter. But pressure due to liquid column we have calculated, and total pressure at any point will be the atmospheric pressure plus pressure due to liquid column. Okay, so this has to be taken in account for calculation of various numericals. So we move further. Now, what are the factors affecting the pressure at a point in a liquid? So we have already spoken about this. Pressure at a point is directly proportional to depth of the point below the surface. That means whatever is the height from the free surface, density of the liquid, and acceleration due to gravity. So these three things are affecting the pressure at any point in a liquid. We have already studied with this that it is directly proportional, and therefore we move further. Now there are some laws of liquid pressure. We'll take one by one. The first one, inside the liquid, pressure increases with the increase in depth from its free surface. So that is clear to you. We all have understood by now that pressure increases with depth. So inside the liquid, pressure increases with the increase in depth from its free surface. Whatever is the free surface, from there, if the height is increasing, pressure will also increase. Number two, in a stationary liquid, pressure is same at all points on a horizontal plane. That means we are talking about a lateral pressure. Lateral pressure is same at all points in a stationary liquid, which is not flowing. So in a stationary liquid, pressure is same at all the points in a horizontal plane. That is, lateral pressure is equal. Third point, pressure is same in all directions about a point inside the liquid. So the pressure which a single molecule inside is applying in all the directions is same in the liquid. Fourth, pressure at same depth is different in different liquids. Why? Because the density is changing. So pressure at same depth in different liquids is different. So pressure at same depth, as the density is changing, so the pressure will also change with the increase in density of liquid. It has been mentioned now. And fifth, a liquid seeks its own level. So whether you have studied this in class 8 also, whether the container is conical, whether it is haphazard, whether it is a cuboidal, whether it is a square shape, whatever, if it is connected in the same tube, liquid seeks its own level. It will come to the same level in all the tubes. Okay, so this was few laws of liquid pressure which you have to take in account. So we move further. So now we have a law which is known as Pascal's law. And what does it say? Pascal's law states that the pressure exerted anywhere in a confined liquid is transmitted equally and undiminished in all directions throughout the liquid. So you can see this is a Pascal's equipment. Now there is a piston to move up and down to create and reduce pressure over there. As you see, if you have ever filled air in a bicycle, the pump which you use for it, you use the pump in up and down order. You hold it with hand and you make the pump move, the piston move up and then down. And what happens? The air fills in first and then it moves inside the tube of the bicycle. So you first fill in the air by moving the piston up, and when you move down, due to that, through that piston, the air moves inside. As you are decreasing the space, the air moves inside the tube. The same way, this Pascal's equipment is also having a piston. When you move the piston up, the space increases and so it fills in, and the moment you bring it down, the pressure increases and whatever is filled in over there comes out. Now, what is Pascal's law saying? Pascal's law is saying that pressure exerted anywhere in a confined liquid. So, this liquid which has been filled inside is confined. It cannot flow, it cannot move here and there. So, it is having small holes inside, and a liquid has been filled in and it is confined in this. So, Pascal's law states that the pressure exerted anywhere in a confined liquid is transmitted equally and undiminished in all directions. So the pressure will be equal and undiminished in all the directions. So it will come out with the same pressure from all the points in all the directions. So this is Pascal's law. This was given by Pascal. So this is known as Pascal's law. So we move further. Now we are about to study applications of Pascal's law. So Pascal's law is very important in our daily life. We are about to study now. All the hydraulic machines are based on Pascal's law of transmission of pressure of liquids. Now, how is it used? We are about to study. So, all the hydraulic machines, hydraulic means the water or fluid is filled inside. So, hydraulic machines are based on Pascal's law of transmission of pressure in liquids. Now, the principle of hydraulic machine. The principle of hydraulic machine is that a small force applied on a smaller piston is transmitted to produce a large force on a bigger piston. You won't understand it over here, but when you see the diagram, you will understand it better. The principle is that a small force on a small area will transmit a large force on a big area. So we move further to study how. Now here you can see that we have two openings and there is a fluid which is colored yellow and it shows over there. Now we can see that there is area A1 which is the smaller area and there is area A2 which is a bigger area, and it has been mentioned that A2 is 10 times of A1. Okay, now we have one piston to apply force over there, and on the other piston we have a motor car kept on it. Okay, now we come to the first piston on the smaller area. So from there we have applied a force over there. So original force has been applied from here. Now what will happen? Force F1 has been applied and we know that pressure is equal to force upon area. Yes, we know that pressure is equal to force upon area. So F1 will be P1 into A1. Yes, we'll cross multiply. So F1 will be P1 into A1. As it is mentioned in the below also that P1 is equal to F1 upon A1, and therefore F1 will be P1 upon A1, P1 into A1. Okay, now the moment this force is applied, the piston will move down. When the piston will move down, it will increase the pressure inside, and when the pressure will be created over there, it will be transmitted equally and undiminished in all the directions. Now, where is the direction? It will move only wherever there is an opening. So, pressure is created over there. Now, pressure is transmitted, and where is it going? To the other opening, to the other piston, and this piston is having a bigger area. Now, this bigger area has a bigger piston on which is a motor car has been kept. Now, F1 is equal to P1 into A1. Now, here the area has increased. Now, F2 is equal to P2 into A2. And A2 is what? A2 is 10 times of A1. So, if you write there at 10 times of A1 and then you cross multiply, you will see that F2 will come to P2 into A2. So, here a small force which has been applied on a small area does such a big work that it is applying greater pressure over there. So we can see from here that how is a hydraulic machine working. A small force has been applied which transmits through the liquid and applies and does a greater work over there. Okay, that means it is pushing up, it is making the vehicle move up and down over as we want it over there. So this is the principle of hydraulic machine, that a small force applied on a smaller piston is transmitted to produce large force on a bigger piston. So piston will move up and the vehicle will move up and so on. So we move further.
I would like to add up over here that as P1 is equal to P2 because of Pascal's law, so in that case P1 will be F1 upon A1 and P2 will be F2 upon A2. So when F1 upon A1 has been made equal to F2 upon A2 and A2 is 10 times of A1, so we cancel out A1 and A1. So F2 becomes 10 times of F1. So here the smaller force is producing a greater force because of the Pascal's law. So this was important. So we move further.
Now in this picture we are talking about a hydraulic brake. So if you have seen that while driving a car there is a brake, and from the foot when the brake is applied, all the four wheels of the car come to a stop. Now how is it working? We are going to see. The moment a person applies a brake on the master cylinder over there is a master cylinder. So the brake is applied on the master cylinder and the fluid is filled inside. Now master cylinder applies a pressure inside, so pressure is transmitted equally and undiminished in all the directions. So equal pressure goes on all the four wheels. So when master cylinder the force has been applied, pressure has been created due to that area, and whatever pressure has been created is going equally and undiminished on all the four wheels, and therefore all the four wheels together come to stop because of that master cylinder force. Okay, so this is how the hydraulic brake is working. You can see in the diagram that the rear wheels come to a stop, the rear cylinders come to a stop because a stop has been applied on the master cylinder. Okay, so how is the pressure transmitted equally and undiminished in all the direction, and how is it used, we have seen in our daily lives. So we move further to one more example of hydraulic machine. Now here we can see that this is a diagram of a hydraulic press. Now what is a hydraulic press? You must have seen that there are printing press, and there are even places where the dry cleaners also have this to iron the clothes over there, the heavy clothes, the clothes which are thick enough to be ironed are ironed because through the hydraulic press. Now how is it done? We are going to see over here. Now what happens is a small force is applied from the smaller area which we can see over there. Okay, the lever is there and the force has been applied over there, and then it presses down. Okay, so the moment the piston moves down, the pressure is created and it moves inside the liquid, undiminished and equal in all the directions. Now what all the directions means, wherever it can move, in that direction only it will move. Now as you can see that the pressure has been created and it is moving. Now this pressure will move up the piston over there. Now what will happen? whatever is to be printed, the ink will be pushed up, and whatever is the paper present over there, the printing will be done, and the moment the printing is done, the piston moves up, a gap has been created, the pressure has been released, and so suddenly it comes down after printing. The same thing happens with ironing of the clothes. What will happen? Pressure, the force will be made from there, and the pressure will be created. The pressure transmits, and it comes to the other piston. It will rise up. It will iron the cloth over there, and then when the pressure is released, it will again come down. And in this way, the hydraulic press works. So these were three simple examples of hydraulic machine. One was a hydraulic lift, one was hydraulic press, and the third one was hydraulic brake. So you have understood how pressure is transmitted equally and undiminished in all the directions. That means you have understood what is Pascal's law. So this was all about pressure in fluids. You must have understood a lot from here. I would like you people to read the book and clear your doubts. Still, if you have any problems, please ask me in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.